UFC 323, I will predict the whole card right now. Let's get right into it. The first fight of the night, Mohammed Naimov against Myron Santos. Myron Santos, in my opinion, is a up-and-coming star, 25 years old, is just on a tear right now. Of course, 2 decisions back-to-back, but beating Sodiq Yusuff is a tough task, and I do think normally after you fight a guy like Sodiq Yusuff, you don't really fight a guy like Naimov, who's also on a 2-5 win streak, but yeah, not the most impressive wins, to be honest. I do believe that Myron Santos will win this fight by whatever method he wants, but I say it will be a decision because Naimov is pretty tough. Then Mansour Abdul Malik, the guy is absolutely rampaging through everyone, winning by KO all around the world. He fights. This is the biggest let's get him out of the organization fight ever, because Antonio Trocoli never belonged to the UFC. The UFC realizes that by now, and they know he's gonna get knocked out in this fight. That's why they booked that fight. The by now former boyfriend of Mackenzie Dern, as far as I would guess, they were together, not anymore. At least I haven't seen them anymore since a long time. That's also why he got the opportunity, in my opinion. 2-fight losing streak. Abdul Malik will knock him into the Shadow Realms in the first round. Trocoli is really not a good fighter. Easy fight to predict. Then Ivo Aslan against Ivo Baranievski. Baranievski made his Contender Series debut this summer, looked absolutely phenomenal in there. Is on a forever KO streak. I mean, really good fighter. Looked really solid on Contender Series. Of course, not that experienced set with 6-0. Ivo Aslan, of course, 14-3, has a little bit more experience. Has 2 wins in the UFC already under his belt, but of course lost the last 2 fights. And I just never was a fan of Ivo Aslan. I always thought Ivo Aslan is more bark than bite, and he is not a bad fighter, but he, in my opinion, will never reach the top of this division. And I do think Baranievski has the tools to do that, though, and I do believe he will knock out Ivo Aslan. Let's go back-to-back round number 1 knockouts. Then Jalen Turner comes back after he retired for a moment, which is crazy. He's only 30 years old. He retired at 29 years old. Against Edson Barboza, who's 39, and is this his first fight at featherweight? I think so. Yeah, Balmondes is a lightweight. Yeah, he was a huge lightweight already. No, wait, am I tripping right now? No, what am I talking about? Of course, Edson Barboza is not a featherweight anymore. My brain was in 2018. Of course, it's a lightweight bout, guys. Forget it. No, I thought Jalen Turner wanted to move up. That's what I had in my head, because he's a huge lightweight. Look at that. 10 centimeters taller, or whatever, how many inches, whatever that is, than Edson Barboza. Absolutely insane height for the lightweight division. The Ruka gym doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know why that is there, but anyways, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, of course. Not the best losses. Like against Moicano, he was beating Moicano until he thought that he knocked him out, and long story short, I do believe that Jalen Turner just brings the youth. I think the half year, whatever it was, off the sport was good for him. Barboza, of course, is a dog and hard to beat to this day. But I do believe that Jalen Turner has the tools to beat him and will beat him by decision. Then Marvin Vettori makes his kind of last appearance for his contract. I mean, if he loses that fight, even though he's Marvin Vettori and he has a name, I don't know if they're gonna give him another fight. I mean, it's crazy. He fought for the title twice. He's only 32 years old and he's already lost 4 out of his last 5. This is nuts. He, of course, lost his baby brother not too long ago, like half a year ago. So I hope his mind's at the right place. But I do believe that if Vettori's mind's at the right place, he can win that fight. It is a winnable fight. Bruno Ferreira, more of a grappler, and Vettori himself has good boxing and is solid on the ground. I'm not a fan of Vettori at all, not at all, but I kind of hope for him to win as well, because yeah, he was always part of the top 5 in the UFC's middleweight division, and now he's fighting for his contract. Lost 4 of his last 5, lost his brother and all of that. I kind of feel for him. He's 32 years old. He took a lot of brain damage already in his fights. He always relies on his chin, which is not good, but this is more of a hope pick. I hope Vettori gets this done by decision, but I'm not really sure. But the odds are pretty accurate in my opinion. This is a hard fight to predict. Then, the hardest fight to predict in my opinion on the card is Nassim Sadikhov versus Fares Ziyan. Both young studs. I mean, both are absolutely amazing. They are both leveling up with every fight. Both are phenomenal strikers that also are not afraid to grapple. Of course, Sia has more of a problem on the ground. I remember when Terrence McKinney absolutely ragdolled him on the ground, but this is a pick'em fight. This is not a confident pick from me, but I do think Sadykhov has a little bit of a broader tool set, and yeah, I kind of feel like Sadykhov also lives in Vegas and all of that. Some slight advantages go in Sadykhov's way, and that's why I predict Nazim by decision. Then we have Maycee Barber. If she makes it to the octagon, she had a lot of problems getting there lately. She's only 27. That's crazy. That's crazy. I did not know that. But she fights Karine Silva. Karine Silva herself is a very good fighter that up until her loss against Viviani was looking like a title contender. Of course, Maycee Barber herself is right there. I mean, phenomenal wins in her resume. I'm just not sure how fit Barber really is, and I find it crazy that 82% go with Maycee Barber, because I just cannot rely, I want to say on a horse, of course, I didn't mean the disrespectful, but you know, that betting on a horse, that, what you say. Anyways, I cannot rely on someone that has been so inactive, that has so many health issues. And of course she says, no, my camp was good, I'm healthy and all of that, but you never know. She will never tell you, no, my camp was horrible. You know what I mean? I think Karine Silva has the tools to win this fight, and I do believe she'll win it by decision. Then, Terrence McKinney against Chris Duncan. I will go against the grain again. Chris Duncan, of course, phenomenal fighter. Great wins against Reombetsky and all those guys. Really good wins at aged well as well. But Terrence McKinney, I've been on the T-Rex train since day one. I absolutely love this guy. He is just no bark, all bite. He comes in there and just swings. All his wins, all his 70 wins, as far as I know, are first round finishes. All of his 70 wins and all of his 7 losses are all finishes. He has never seen a decision in his life. I do think that will not change this time. Chris Duncan also loves to throw down. McKinney just has more power on his hands. He's a phenomenal grappler as well. I think McKinney gets it done by knockout in round 1. But tough fight to predict. Chris Duncan is definitely the smarter fighter in there, but T-Rex will just go in there and rack him. I hope so, at least. Then the stepbrother of Chris Duncan, Grant Dawson, fights Manuel Torres. Now this is a tough fight to predict, because Manuel Torres, of course, very powerful striker, really great wins. I mean, Chris Duncan, Ignacio Bahamondes is lost, but Drew Dober, great win again. And then, of course, Grant Dawson himself, other than the loss to King Green, which was a horrible knockout, he has been on quite a good streak again. He is minus 210 favorite. Trains out of ATT, of course, together with Chris Duncan. Phenomenal gym, really great grappler. The question is, can he take the fight to the ground against Manuel Torres and submit him? You know what? Also not a fight that I'm confident in, by the way, not a fight that I would bet money on, but I just go with the grain here and say Grant Dawson by decision. I don't think he submits him, but he will hold him down and try to ground upon him and all of that. And yeah, I do think that's a very possible outcome. Then the tough fights continue, because this is also a fight that there's arguments both ways. 42 years old for Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz is a better fighter. Let's just make this clear. Jan Blachowicz is a better fighter. But the problem is he's 42 years old, right? 9 years older than his adversary. Nearly 10 years older, 9 months, 2 months. He had shoulder surgeries on both shoulders, which is not something that ever ends well, especially not at that age. I am not sure how good his training is going recently. I mean, Bogdan Guskov just knocked out Nikita Krylov, Billy Alekana, Ryan Spann, Zach Pauga. Lost by submission against Volkan, of course. That's not a good sign, because Volkan is not famous for his grappling. Jan lost a decision to Carlos Ulberg, though. Carlos Ulberg just knocked out Dominic Reyes. Split decision to Alex Pereira. Of course, after that he had that shoulder surgery, so that's the big layoff there. He can win against everyone. Jan is definitely the technically better fighter, but it's so tough to predict, because I could see Guskov knocking him out. At this age, Father Time is undefeated, and 42, even for a light heavyweight, is old. But I really like Jan. Like, I'm a fan of Jan Blachowicz. I'm not necessarily a fan of Bogdan Guskov. I have nothing against him, but like Jan Blachowicz, I really like him. I was always a fan of him. So this is a very tough fight for me to predict, because something tells me Guskov will catch him, just because Father Time is undefeated and the MMA gods do not like old fighters. But, I mean, he just lost a decision to Carlos Ulberg, and Carlos Ulberg is a more dangerous fighter than Bogdan Guskov, you could say. You know what? I'll pick with my heart here, Jan Blachowicz by decision. Then, here, two guys that I absolutely can't stand, Payton Talbott and Triple Cheeseburger, Triple C section. Two guys that are just horrible personality-wise. One guy, Payton Talbott, phenomenal striker. One guy, good wrestler, phenomenal wrestler. He's an Olympic gold medalist, but he can't wrestle well in the cage. He was never good at, or that good as he was on the wrestling mat in the ring, because in the cage, sorry. Wrestling in the cage is always different. That's why Merab absolutely out-wrestled him. And he has the tools to beat Payton, because Payton's problems are on the ground, as we saw against Ronnie Barcelos. But Payton has the youth advantage. I mean, 38 years old for a bantamweight. He will be much slower. And even though he's not very chinny, it's not like he gets knocked out or something. I do believe this could be the fight where he gets knocked out. And as much as it bothers me, I can't stand Payton Talbott, if you know me. I can't stand this guy. I think he's an absolute joke. But he's a good fighter. And I want to have an accurate pick. I say Payton Talbott knocks him out in round 2. I hope Henry Cejudo, Triple Cheeseburger, wins by decision, but I go with Talbott. What are the people saying? Oh, okay, 61%. Interesting. Then, Brandon Moreno against Arturo Taira. Brandon Moreno, only 31 years old. It's nuts. I thought he's like 35. Two-time flyweight champion. Absolutely amazing fighter. And is he two-time or one-time? No, two-time. Yeah, two-time. And Arturo Taira, up-and-coming, 25 years old. Phenomenal grappler. I mean, great wins. But I do believe that Brandon Moreno is just one slight step still above him, especially in terms of experience. And I do believe that he is a future champion, but Brandon Moreno will win this one by decision and out-experience him. Then, I already did prediction videos for the co-main and main, so watch my prediction videos. I said submission, what did I say, round 3? I think I said round 3. Or did I say round 2? I don't remember anymore. I think round 2. Let's go round 2. Then Merab, I said Merab wins by decision against Petr. So those are my official predictions for UFC 323. Now write your predictions in the comments, you guys. I would love to hear your takes. What do you agree, disagree with me? Be there live tomorrow. I will host a watch along where we watch the fights together. I'll sit right here, watch the fights with you, and give my commentary, my stupid opinions to the fights. Like this video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Would appreciate that. Check out my merch, bloodsport.net. As you see here, links in the bio as well. Check it out, you guys. Stay bloody, and until the next one, bye-bye. Bloodsport out.